Hey guys, welcome back. So you have found the perfect house and you're ready to make an offer on that home. So Len is going to cover making that offer, what's important, how to structure it, what to keep in mind, or what to think about other than just the purchase price. So Len, when your home buyer is ready to make an offer on a home, what should they keep in mind? What's important in making that offer?
So, to back up just a little bit, while we're looking and touring at the home, I like to look at it with a very critical eye, okay? So, I know that you will have inspections once you come under a contract and everyone kind of agrees to the idea of what is being offered and the terms and all that. But what I like to try to do is save you that headache of having to go through that expense of an inspection. So when we kind of gravitate to a home, that's when we start tearing it apart. And it's not uncommon that we might actually go back and see it again, especially if the market is not as fast and there's more time to do so. We'll go back and look at it again, and even take measuring tape and all that stuff. So like we're gonna be looking as foundation, how's the HVAC system looking, walk the attic if you so like. We're gonna be looking at the flooring and different other things, because the reason why I mention this now is that you might be thinking about the price point and it could be listed at a fair price that it could appraise, right? I consider price points equals appraisal values from a lender. To me, that's what I focus on. And so we might look at the home and say, yeah, it should appraise. You should be able to get a loan for this purchase price. But you as a buyer might say, well, yes, Len, but then I'll have to put new windows. The roof is towards the end of its life. The water heater looks like it's really old. And the HVAC system looks like it might be in trouble. So these things might be issues for you when it comes to writing an offer and swallowing the expense to correct, replace, or fix those things. And so what I like to do is really strategically look into that and see how we might be able to write up an offer that addresses those concerns that you may have about that home. And that's basically putting the whole offer together. You know, so for some folks it'll be like, hey, I would prefer more closing costs paid for by the seller at closing than I am going to worry about XYZ. You know, so those are the type of things that I'll pull up my spreadsheet. If you're not a numbers person, don't worry about it. You don't have to look at it, but just know that I'm using that spreadsheet to help me determine and figure out what will your costs be near term, long term, monthly.
So a lot of people, when they're at that point, they're negotiating the purchase price of a home. The purchase price is what is thought of, that number. Keeping in mind, when you're financing that amount of money over 30 years, $2,000 is $10 a month. So if you're $2,000 away from a seller and you're just not going to budge for $2,000, you're not going to budge for $10 a month. Is that what's important to you? Or, as Len is saying, could you get some more? Can you give the seller that in exchange for a minor repair or seller concessions, or who's paying for the survey, or some other part of the contract? Don't just focus on that top number, because there's a whole lot of other moving parts involved in that purchase offer.
That's right. And as a first-time home buyer, as you know, one of the benefits of being a home buyer is you can write off on your taxes the interest and the property taxes. Now we'll go into this a little bit later, but if you're like $10, $2,000, you know, that $10 a month more, there's probably enough in that write-off that you'll be able to get that money at, during the year to kind of compensate for all that. And it's not complicated, but there's a lot of things that goes with that. And so if you have questions in regards to that specifically, feel free to reach out to Danny and I. We can talk about that topic. But just know that there's a lot of different levers that we can pull to help you get to where you want to be.
All right, cool. So when you're making that offer, make sure you're working with a real estate agent that's not just explaining and communicating the price of the home, but all the different components involved in that purchase offer, and that they're skilled at communicating that and negotiating with the seller. That's all this week. That's all this time. We'll come back next time, and we're going to cover some first-time home buyer specific programs that you may qualify for. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.